Someone is threatening the Norfolk Naval Shipyard. The facility has received a series of threatening messages over the last 2 weeks. The NCIS is investigating and has now offered a reward. 13 News Now reporter Mike Gooding spoke today with the shipyard's commanding officer. Mike.
And well, Janet, this is a big deal. What they do over there at the shipyard, of course, is maintaining and repairing the Navy's warships. It's vital, and anything that disrupts that crucial operation could be viewed as a threat to national security.
No, definitely not desirable, but we're working hard to go find out who it is.
Norfolk Naval Shipyard has received 4 threatening messages within the last 2 weeks. It began on May 22nd when shipyard law enforcement personnel were dispatched to an industrial building at the yard in response to a written bomb threat discovered in a restroom. As a precaution, employees in the vicinity were temporarily evacuated. They eventually returned to work. The 251-year-old naval shipyard is the oldest and largest industrial facility belonging to the U.S. Navy. With 10,500 civilian workers, it's the 4th largest employer in Hampton Roads. And for a facility which does such critical work overhauling and refueling nuclear-powered submarines and aircraft carriers, events such as this can be extremely disruptive to the daily operations at the more than 1,200-acre yard.
Oh, it's frustrating. I mean, we take it very seriously. So we're working closely with NCIS on the investigation. We have a $2,500 reward out there for any information leading to an arrest of this individual that's doing this.
And unfortunately, this is not the first time that a local Navy base has been threatened. In March, a 3rd-class petty officer pleaded guilty to maliciously conveying false information in a case involving a series of bomb threats last September directed at 3 ships and 2 at-shore-based commands. They caused a series of lockdowns and evacuations that affected ships and pier operations for hours.
Well, a few months ago, Little Creek had a series of bomb threats as well. And a sailor that was doing it was caught and is now serving 15 months in a federal prison.
And if anyone has any information, they're asked to contact the NCIS at 757-396-5722 or to submit a tip online. We have information on how to do that on our website, 13newsnow.com. Reporting live, Mike Gooding, 13 News Now.